Maybe the sun gave me the power, for I could swim Loch Lomond and be home in half an hour. Maybe the air gave me the drive, for I'm all aglow and alive. What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I would swear I was falling, I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love. When we walked up the brae,
not a word did we say. It was almost like being in love. But your arm linked in mine made the world kind of fine.
it was almost like being in love.
All the music of life seems to be
Like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal,
I would swear I was falling.
I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in
So after Thunderbolt finished, Phil and I sat down one day and said to ourselves, well, what's next? And that's when the idea came to form Burraluna and the Friends of the Theatre. So to cut a long story short, that's how two old friends are making a lot of new friends who are very quickly becoming old friends.
Hey, old friend, are you okay? Old friend, what do you say? Old friend, are we or are we unique? Time goes by, everything else keeps changing. You and I, we continue next week. To discuss, old friend, is to us. Who's like us? Damn you! Hey, old friends, are you safe? Old friends, are you safe? Old friends, are we unique? Time goes by.
What do you say, old friend? Are you okay, old friend? Are we or are we unique?
Time goes by, everything else keeps changing. You and I, we get continued next week. Most friends fade, or they don't make the grade. New ones are quickly made, and in a pinch sure they'll do.
But us, old friend, what's to discuss, old friend?
Here's to us, who's like us, damn you.
Hey, old friend, are you okay? Old friend, what do you say? Old friend, are we or are we unique? Time goes by, everything else keeps changing. You and I, we get continued next week. Most friends fade, or they don't make the grade. New ones are quickly made, and in a pinch sure they'll do. But us, old friend, what's to discuss, old friend?
Here's to us, who's like us, damn you.
afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the barn, the Tamworth Town Hall, which has been here now for 90-odd years, 90 years in this coming year, and has been the scene of great, spectacular things over the past, wonderful teachers being here, the Stedfords being here, students being here. But nobody ever performed quite like Jennifer Mary Schnack Corrin Heaton. When we were organising this week, Kirsten, her daughter, has been the producer of this wonderful production, and she got us all together online and we talked about what we were doing. And as I saw what sort of lineup we're going to have, I thought, what a shame that Jen's not going to be here to see it. She is. Jen's ashes are with us today. This is called, in Jen's words, poofterisation. So she came down with Kirsten especially for today. Now, it's very hard to encapsulate in just a few hours what this lady did for this town. First of all, I should say we're going to have the two parts to this soiree. The first was the formal part of beautiful, beautiful singing and playing and lots of people listening and watching from all around the world. Then we're going to be able to get round the piano, anyone wishes, and do a have-a-go show, which Jen was very good at. Soirees were her life. She was the queen of the soirees, and we've got some stories about those things as well. While she was in Tamworth, and we're going to talk about, first of all, Wanganui and London before she came here, but while she was in Tamworth, she was actually the conductor of the Tamworth Choral Society. She was the musical director of the Tamworth Musical Society. She was leading lady on stage here for many productions for the Tamworth Musical Society. She was the leader of the Tamworth Singers, who are here with us today, who are about to get up any minute now when they can remember, and to come and sing for us. She was actually... That was a cue. That was a cue. She was actually a supporter of everything in this city, and it all started one day just down here near this first table. We just moved here from Sydney, and we walked in, and I was showing her with great pride this beautiful room. And she went, "Oh, wow, we've been talking a great deal in the past about comparison between Tamworth and Wanganui, which is her hometown in New Zealand. And Wanganui has had an opera house since 1900. And I walked in here and I said, "Now, Jen, this is it. This is our..." And she went, "Oh, what a beautiful ballroom. What a fantastic concert platform. Where's your theatre?" And I said, "Haven't got one. This is it." She said, "Oh, no, it's not. This is not a theatre. This is a ballroom. This is a platform for concerts, rock concerts, symphony orchestras. Where's your theatre?" I said, "We don't have one." And just down there, in front of that table, she said, "Right, let's go and make people aware that Tamworth needs a new theatre." That was in 1989. It took 20 years for us to get the Capitol Theatre, which, as we know it today. Unfortunately, Jen wasn't well enough to ever perform in it, but she did a lot of work with me and other people as well in getting people to be aware of the fact that we needed a new theatre, and we still need in the future another one. We'll talk about that later on. However, she formed, just before she left Tamworth, a group of singers called the Tamworth Singers. It's called jazz choir in those days, because people who used to drop off their kids at her studio would listen to this beautiful music coming out and say, "Oh, why can't we have a little choir that hasn't got to compete or hasn't got to perform, just to sing?" And so we formed the Tamworth Jazz Choir. I inherited it when Jen went off to Melbourne, and unfortunately there's now none of us left from that original choir because of time got to us all, didn't it, really? It's still doing it. But most of us who are here now, we're called the Tamworth Singers. Now, this is a direct descendant of the Tamworth Jazz Choir, and it all comes back to Jennie Heaton. Now, we're doing two little songs for you. This was one of the songs I played 345,622 times for her to sing. I think it was a favourite song. Hello, here we go.
Tell me I'm crazy, maybe I know. Can't help
Jen loved very much and taught very often the music of Stephen Sondheim. His wonderful musicals just appealed to her immensely. And this particular song, again, I'd played for her many, many times, and it's probably one of her favourites. Anyone can sing along at any time if they wish. Softly. Isn't it rich? Are we ahead? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair. Where are the clowns? Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. Where are the clowns? Set in the clouds. Just when I start opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours. Making my entrance again with my usual flair. Sure of my lines, no one is there. My fault I'm here. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. But where are the clowns? We send in the clowns. Don't bother, they're here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this late in my career. But where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Well, maybe next year. Thank you all. Thank you. There you go. Those early days in Sydney when she came back from, well, she started in New Zealand, of course, went to London, but came to Sydney after a stint in Bundaberg and around Queensland, would you believe, with her partner, who was a helicopter pilot. And they went mustering sheep around Dirranbandi and Bollen, and she would occasionally, she told me, would appear at a little hall somewhere in the bush, and there would be a soiree. There'd be a sing-along, and Jennie really had that enormous knack of making people feel very welcome in any situation. Now, in Sydney, she and I met through, we were working with two particular different musical companies. The Ku-ring-gai Musical Comedy Company, of which there are members here today, and the Warringah. They weren't that good. And the Warringah Musical Society, which probably no one's here tonight, which is a very good thing. But it was, we were doing two shows at once, so it'd be Monday, Wednesday, one group, Tuesday, Thursday, the other, and then weekends, building sets, painting, doing all that stuff, and partying elaborately. They were there. And so in that period of time, Jennie set up a studio as well, and she started teaching some wonderful people, really, really good people. And 40 years ago, this month, I think, very soon, I wrote the first musical called Pizzazz, which was a spectacular flop financially, but it had a wonderful cast. And one of those cast members is here today, and she was a great performer and certainly a student of Jen's for a long time before that. She and a good mate Leanne are going to do. Please welcome, please, this Broadway baby.
I'm just a Broadway baby, walking off my tired feet, pounding 42nd Street to be in a show. Broadway baby, learning how to sing and dance, waiting for that one big chance to be in a show. Gee, I'd like to be on some marquee, all twinkling lights, a spark to pierce the dark from Battery Park way up to Washington Heights. Someday maybe all my dreams will be repaid. Heck, I'd even play the maid to be in a show.
Hey, Mr. Producer, I'm talking to you, sir.
I don't need a lot,
Only what I got,
lots of tube of grease paint,
and a follow spot. I'm just a Broadway baby, slaving at a 5 and 10, dreaming of the great day when I'll be in a show, a show. Broadway baby, making rounds all afternoon, eating out a greasy spoon to save all my dough. At my tiny flash, there's just my cash, a bed and a chair, but still I'll stick it till I'm on a bill all over Times Square. Someday maybe, if I stick it long enough,
I might get to strut my stuff
working for a nice
like a
man
Ziegfeld or a Weissman in
in
a
a
great
great
big Broadway show.
I wish that everybody had known Jennie. Most of us did, but some of you didn't. In fact, most members of the choir had never met her because she had gone before they came into the choir. She was able to do many things. Every town, of course, in Australia has a wonderful teacher of some description, a singing teacher, a piano teacher, or a musician that makes their mark on that area. Jennie had everything. First of all, she was qualified from the Royal College of London as a singing teacher, and she was a brilliant pianist and an accompanist. She could sing, she could dance, she could act, and she could direct, and she could do musical direction like you would not believe. She had it all, and so she came to Tamworth purely, initially, as the head of the piano studies at the Conservatorium. And she set up her own vocal studio as well, and literally got 100 or so students fairly quickly because they realised her expertise. Now, she could teach from grand opera to country, and from rock to music theatre. She had an absolute enormous knowledge of music. She came from a very musical family, certainly. Musical, educational in New Guinea. In New Zealand, by the way, I never told you, probably you don't know. She was part German, Schnack is German, part Irish, part Scottish. The Earl of Wigmore family, the Wigmore family, she was descended from them, and she was part Tasmanian Aboriginal. And she lived in Wanganui, of all places. A most extraordinary. In fact, on this very stage, there was a Federation ball here to mark the Federation of Australia, and the Musical Society asked me to do a 45-minute spot on stage in the middle of the ball. And the Governor-General at the time, who was Sir Peter Cosgrove, met the cast afterwards, and we did that lovely thing, I am, you are, we are Australian. And he came to Jennie and she started talking to him, and she said, "You've got the whole bloody lot here yourself. You're the whole thing." And she wasn't even Australian. Well, she's sort of Australian. We won't go into that. However, she did teach magnificent opera as well. Now, one of her students from here is going to join us, and very soon, by the way, we're going to see other people, other students joining us from all around the world today. So let's listen to this beautiful voice of Amanda Windred.
What can we say? Jennie Heaton was incredible for so many of us, but for me personally, here's a little bit of my story with Jennie. I was 9 when I went into the Tamworth Eisteddfod to sing The Circle of Life. I love to have a bit of a sing, and I just started piano lessons, and the way my teacher at the time got me to practice was to actually have a bit of a sing-along at the end of every session. And there we met Jennie, my mum, my dad, and I. From here, they went, Amanda has a talent and we need to nurture it. She's going to be a Wagnerian soprano someday. So we really needed to look after my voice and make sure growing up I didn't do any damage to it. So I was with Jennie right up until 17 before she moved to Melbourne. So there's so many different stories that I can imagine you can think of, from doing chess to the Civil War. And then there was another one that I can't remember the name of the show, but I was dressed up as an alien in this silver outfit. So much fun, not only for singing, for drama, for acting, for stagecraft, life lessons as well. I think the big thing is that she had a major impact on so many of us, and I think of her every single day when I'm performing, and I appreciate the work that she put into me as a person and into my art as well. And talking about becoming a Wagnerian soprano, I'm going to fade away now, and you can have a listen to me singing Xanta's ballad from The Flying Dutchman, which is by Wagner. Thank you so much, Jennie, for everything, and we will miss you a lot.
And to think that all started in Street. Some of the people, of course, went on to international fame as students. Some decided to stay in Australia and do just as well here. And we in Tamworth are very, very lucky to have a batch of people all taught by Jennie who are giving to this day on this stage and in the Capitol Theatre and elsewhere of their great talents. We're going to welcome one now. Tamworth's probably favourite leading lady, done a great deal of shows in the Capitol Theatre like My Fair Lady, Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, Mamma Mia, it goes on and on. But she's chosen today to sing a song that she didn't actually sing in this particular production. The show was Les Miserables, and the young girl in those days sang the second part in the show, but today she's chosen to sing the wonderful song, I Dreamed a Dream, from Les Mis. Please welcome Gabriella MacDonald.
When hope was high and life worth living, I dreamed that love would never die. I dreamed that God would be forgiving. Then I was young and unafraid, dreams were made and used and wasted. There was no ransom to be paid, no song unsung, no wine untasted. But the tigers come at night, as thunder, as they tear your hope apart, as they turn your dream to shame. He slept a summer by my side. He filled my days with endless wonder. He took my childhood in his stride, but he was gone when autumn came. And still I dream he'll come to me, killed the dream I dreamed.
Well done, mate, well done. Well done. Thank you, Gabriella. And thank you, Tim Godden. Thank you, everybody. Now, I should say a lot of people are watching us today, live stream. And also, I just want to say, for Kirsten, who I've known for umpteen years, and her big brother, oh, not that long, but a big brother, Chris, is also watching today in Canberra. Hello, big fella. Good to have you with us. Pardon me. And their uncle and aunt, Chris and Annette Snack in Queensland. Lovely to have us with us. Now, let's go international. When we first moved into the big house in Upper Street, Jenny and I, she started teaching, even before our furniture had arrived from Sydney, she had a piano. How is it Jenny always had a piano and nothing else? I don't know. But she had the piano in the house, and she started to teach people already before she was starting at the conservatorium. I opened the door one day, and a young man shot in, about this big, 6 or 8 years old, and rushed to the piano and sat down, and away he went. And Jen said, "What's this kid? What's this kid?" Well, we're going to watch him now live from London. The boy was Tom Donald. His mum and dad are here today, I know. Let's welcome from London at 2 o'clock in the morning or something, a beautiful man indeed, Tom Donald.
Thank you, Bill, and good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be here today, and my first memory of Jenny was a vivid memory, actually. My dad, Mal, was in the production of Thunderbolt, I think in 1988 it was, so I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I remember seeing Jenny and Bill at the piano together playing songs from the musical, and as a 5-year-old, I'd never seen a piano played with such vigor and energy and passion, and it was very shortly afterwards I started taking piano lessons with Jenny, and she took me through all of my grades, everything up until the age 18. I was not an easy student in those early years. I didn't want to practice my scales. I wasn't particularly good at them. I had probably some coordination issues as well, and wasn't the typical student. But Jenny shortly discovered that I liked to play chords and just jam on songs a little bit. And what a lot of very sensible teachers would have done was they would have tried to meet me halfway. They would have tried to negotiate. Okay, you can do the fun stuff once we've done, the proper stuff. But Jenny had a very different way of looking at things. Now I look back at it. She said, "Oh, Tom, you like to play chords. That's great. I have a whole bunch of singing students, and they need an accompanist, and I can't accompany them all. I don't have time. So next thing, I'm participating in student concerts at Stedford's, and it was a baptism of fire. And I quickly went back to Jenny. I'm like, this is really hard, Jenny. These students of yours, some of them are skipping bars. They're coming in late. They're missing the verse. They're forgetting the words. They're changing the key. What do I do?" And Jenny said to me, "I know you like to play chords, Tom, but if you really want to be a music director, an accompanist, a real professional, you have to know one thing. Everything's your fault. Everything in the performance is all on your shoulders." I mean, what a lesson for a 12-year-old to learn. And you're just going to have to work it out. Just make it happen somehow. And of course, Jenny was a first-class musician, so she had many great tips and tools. And that lesson, that life lesson I learnt of Jenny about taking full ownership and responsibility of yourself on a stage, I think has been something that's been so beneficial to my own career on every type of stage I've ever played on. And to learn that lesson at such a young age, I think is just such an incredible privilege. She turned what was fun into a challenge and into an adventure. And I think only a rare type of teacher can do that. But Jenny didn't just play bad cop on her students. She didn't just have high expectations. She also taught with the most extraordinary sensitivity and empathy. At this very stage at the town hall, I have such fond memories seeing so many different students play and sing exactly the same songs, but in such different ways. And I don't really think many teachers have that ability to teach the same thing in such different ways. She had this way of understanding the strengths, the challenges, and the vulnerabilities of each and every one of us, and being able to create a platform for us to express that in our own way. So I'm just going to play a very simple, humble, beautiful piece by the Beatles, which I had the chance to play at Abbey Road Studios a few years ago. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much.
Tom Donald. We will be hearing from Tom later on this afternoon too, when he leads us all, with everybody, if you wish, to do that beautiful circle of life from The Lion King. I admired Jennie's talent in recognising young people like Tom, this big, when she could see a huge career ahead of them. It happened at a soiree also in Sydney before we left. A young kid, only little fella, he was the son of Jennie's partner at the time, and he said to me, "Oh, I'd love to sing. Do you think I could sing?" And I said, "Well, look, Jen's having a soiree next week. How about you sing in her ear before the soiree, and she might let you sing." She said, "Oh, do you think she will?" I said, "Oh, I think you can. Can you sing at all?" He said, "Oh, I think I can, Bill. I think I can." So I said to Jen, "Look, young fella wants to have a sing, at the soiree. Just listen to him. If he's hopeless, don't worry about it. But, he wants to sing." So I went along to the soiree that next week, and here's this boy. Out came this beautiful voice. That boy's name was Toby. He's now the tall bloke in Human Nature. Toby Allen. And she taught him, she recognised that extraordinary talent when he was a little boy indeed. When she had her soirees here in the concerts, always the younger students were starred. She was very good at that. And one of those came back just especially for today. Please welcome a beautiful voice of Peter Budd. I think that's right, mate. I hope.
When I look at you, what I always see is the face of someone else who once belonged to me. Still I can hear her laugh, and even though that melody plays on, she's gone. When I look at you, she is standing there. I can almost breathe her in like summer in the air. Why do you smile her smile? That heaven I'd forgotten eases through in you. If you could look at me once more, with all the love we felt before, if you and I could disappear into the past and find that love we knew, I'd never take my eyes away from you. When I look at you, she is touching me. I would reach for her, but who can hold a memory? And love isn't everything. That moonlight on the bed will melt away someday. You were once that someone who I followed like a star. Then suddenly you changed, and now I don't know who you are. Or could it be that I never really knew you from the start? Did I create a dream? Was she a fantasy? Even a memory is paradise for all the fools like me. 'cause I miss her so. When I look at you,
Beautiful. Thanks, Timmy. Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Tim. A beautiful song. I mentioned earlier, Jen had the knack of teaching any sort of genre of music at all. She had a lot of country music singers who came to her for lessons as well. And one of those went on to do other shows here in the town hall, but became a very successful and very much loved country singer. Let's have a chat with Felicity Urquhart.
Is the lady who set me on the right path when it comes to singing. When I was young, I begged my parents to ask Jennie if she would take me on as a new student. We saw her perform on the town hall stage in Tamworth as part of one of the local musical productions. She blew us away. Her presence, her voice, everything about Jennie just reached me. And when I would turn up for my Saturday lessons, the same thing happened. She would be beaming, she would fill the room with her energy and her beautiful spirit. And I learnt so many valuable lessons about music and singing, but most importantly, I think, keeping the joy. And that has always been something that I have had at the top of my list. Secondly, then, how the diaphragm works and all those other things she taught me. What a beautiful, gifted teacher and a beautiful spirit. You've left your mark here with me, Jennie Heaton. Thank you so, so very much.
Jen never forgot her Wanganui roots at all. She loved the years that she'd spent in Wanganui. Of course, her family had been there for quite some time. And the Opera House in Wanganui holds 800 people. It's magnificent. It's about the size of this, I suppose, on 2 levels. And she often talked about the leading roles she'd done there or the orchestras she conducted for the shows. And she often went back to Wanganui. In fact, she and I went to Wanganui to perform in that show we first saw here today, Old Friends. We did Old Friends in Wanganui. And she went back for the centenary of the Opera House. Hear that, Tamworth Regional Council, 100 years? In 2000? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we went back to this wonderful centenary, and it was a packed house, 800 people in the Opera House, and she walked out on stage in this beautiful dress, and I was playing, I couldn't start. There was just no way I could start. The applause was just there. She just stood. She was home, an extraordinary lady who had come home. She went back to Wanganui several times, and at one stage she went back and she met a very lovely young bloke who she persuaded to come back to Australia and to teach and to be with us in Australia, in Tamworth. He's back today from Asia via New Zealand. Please welcome Patrick Kelly.
Thank you both. That very opera house happens to have a family legacy. My great-great-grandfather helped build that opera house.
Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure principessa nella tua fredda stanza. Guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me, il nome mio nessuno saprà. il mio pasio sorrerà silenzio che ti fa mia.
And can I tell you, Patrick and I had not rehearsed. I've never played that before, and we've never sang it before today. Thank you, mate. You got me.
Not a bad improv, Bill, not a bad improv.
Now come and do another one, perhaps, for her. The second one?
Yeah, a little bit later, mate.
Later? Okay, we'll do it a bit later. Let's go back now to a lovely song that I want Patrick to do. Let's go back to the screen now. I've got these Donald family are very clever. We did a lot of things in various venues here, Jen and I, with the Donald family. We've seen Tom, and Mal, who's here today, I believe, was a leading role in the first Thunderbolt on this stage. He did a lot of good things on stage, and the kids came along as well. One of them is going to join us now. It used to be called Jesse. He's now Jay Squire.
Jenny
Here he is.
taught my brother's fingers how to sing. You understood that brightness could be dim. You told me to sing deeply, and I haven't left since. That's somewhere I've been. The children waiting for a lift outside your house. The jacaranda's blooming slightly south. Yeah, whenever I'm on stage, there is something about that I can't live without. I will always be somewhere in the changes that somebody else has made. You will always be somewhere in the things that you still somehow do today. Death gets the best of anyone who's ever lived. It makes lighter on the people who forgive. Yeah, and life draws a kind of curtain on those who understand that living is to give.
Jay Squire. The last time I remember him was about that big. He played a page in Camelot on this stage, indeed. Now, the history of the Soiree and Jennie Heaton, it goes back a long way. The very first one we had she had a little coffee shop in Neutral Bay. It was about the size of half this stage, a bit less perhaps. And in that coffee shop, there was a piano, of course. There were people coming off the street to play the piano. She did numerology, she did tarot cards, she made the best carrot cake in the world in the kitchen. And people came all the time off the street to this extraordinary little place. It's called the Smidgen. And that's where she had her first soiree. Now, at this time, you remember there was a terrible incident where the Australian golfer Jack Newton walked in front of an aeroplane and he had his arm cut off. Well, this particular night at the Smidgen, it was going beautifully, fantastic soiree, and a Canadian friend of ours was so carried away, he got up on the table to applaud and he forgot the ceiling fan. Clunk! It was a white party, we were all dressed in white. Well, the blood went everywhere, all over the place. He's on the floor, total quiet, and someone said, "Oh, who's the arsehole trying to do the Jack Newton impersonation?" But it went on from there. The Soiree's in a beautiful home in Cremorne Point, opened onto the harbour, and very often people would get off the ferry, which is right close, and just come in because they hear this music, and they just come into the drawing room, the big drawing room there. It was a thing we brought up with us here to the big house we had in Upper Street. Was very handy for that, and of course it swelled to become the big soirees and the concerts she had here. Now, a good mate of ours all those years in Sydney who's performed us today is coming back to do something that she'd do at a soiree at a drop of a hat. Let's welcome back Barbara Hannon. That's a very Jennie Heaton top doll. Very Jennie Heaton.
Johnny could only sing one note, and the note he sang was this. Oh, poor Johnny, one note, sang out with gusto and just overloaded the place. Poor Johnny, one note, yelled willy-nilly until he was blue in the face. For holding one note was his ace. Couldn't hear the brass, couldn't hear the drum. He was in a class by himself, by gum. Poor Johnny, one note, got in Aida, indeed a great chance to be brave. He took his one note, howled like the north wind, brought forth wind that made critics rave. While Verdi turned round in his grave, couldn't hear the flute or the big trombone, everyone was mute. Johnny stood alone. Cats and dogs stopped yapping, lions in the zoo all were jealous of Johnny's big trill. Thunderclaps stopped clapping, traffic ceased its roar, and they tell us Niagara stood still. He stopped the train whistles, boat whistles, steam whistles, cop whistles, all whistles bow to his skill. Sing, Johnny, one note, sing out with gusto and just overwhelm all the crowd. Oh, so sing, Johnny, one note out loud. Sing, Johnny, one note. Sing, Johnny, one note out loud.
Bobby. Kirsten, in her digging up all sorts of things the last couple of weeks, found some things of Jen's that are running about 23 years late. Just hang in there for a minute. I've got something. Hang in, just don't go away. If Amy Simpson Deeks is here, would you come and get your certificate from 2011? 2001. 2001. Amy, come and It's from the AMEB, the Australian Music Examinations Board. This is to certify the examination held in the year 2001. Amy Rose Simpson Deeks was awarded a pass with credit in practice of music. Darling. Right. Anybody else? Come and see me later. There's about 50 there. Now, where are we up to? Oh, yes, I know. Now, this screen has been wonderful. Before we go on any further, can I just say thank you to Peter Ross for organising all of this, all of it. And his great tech crew. Thank you, guys, for making me sound good and look almost okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for it all. Now, Luke Stoker is another of Jen's students who went on to international fame. Let's join Luke.
Well, I'm sitting here in Düsseldorf in my dressing room after a stage orchestra rehearsal of La Cenerentola, and I can't imagine my 17-year-old self sitting on the couch at Jenny's having a laugh and a chat would have ever expected to end up here. Jennie was my first singing teacher, and she was a great friend. I know how much she meant to all of us. I really wish I could be there to sing with you all again. I've loved watching all the videos that Kirsten's been sharing. But I can't be there, and the show must go on. So here's a clip of me singing Zarastro in the Magic Flute in Austria. Here's to Jennie. Enjoy the show.
I wonder, could we get that set on the Capitol stage, Pete? It's a big one, wasn't it? You know, not everybody went on to be singers, not everybody wanted to be singers or performers. Some of us wanted to run away to the circus, and Kyle Raftery did. He's here today. Kyle Raftery. Hello, mate.
Thanks very much, Bill. And thanks very much, Kirsten, for organising this whole thing and inviting me up. Thanks to the whole production team. Yeah, huge round of applause for Kirsten. I just wanted to yabber on for a little bit just while I get settled and check that the lights are all good. The lights look great. Thank you very much. What a prima donna. Skip the rehearsal, just roll into town. Excellent. Tell Peter I don't like the microphone. I'll have this one instead. That's the way we roll in the circus. Very prima donna. So I was one of Jennie's students in Tamworth, and after she left for Melbourne, I just missed her, so I went and enrolled at the National Institute of Circus Arts in Melbourne, and I called Jennie up, and she said, "Oh, come and stay with me." And so we were housemates for about 6 months down in Melbourne, and I was actually there when she made her professional music theatre debut, which I think was at the age of 65, which is very, very impressive. So she got home from the audition, and I said, "How'd it go?" And she said, "Oh, I just said a few lines," and they all just looked at me. And then one of them said, "Can you sing?" And she went, "Fish gotta swim and birds gotta fly." Oh, you get the idea. That's all she's saying. And they went, "Where have you been hiding?" And they cast her in, and it was wonderful production of My Fair Lady. And I was watching her, and just with these adoring eyes, just thought, oh my God, people don't understand the half of just how amazing this person is. And then she did a final scene as the housekeeper. It wasn't a huge role in My Fair Lady, but she spoke a bit and sung a little bit. And as she exited, I heard two people behind me say, "Oh, isn't she just fabulous?" And I went, yep, that's our Jenny. It wouldn't matter what you give her to do, she is just fabulous at it. And as a lot of people have said, it wasn't just the music lessons, it was the life lessons that was really, really special with Jenny. And I absolutely treasure that 6 months that we had living together. We used to sit up to 2 or 3 in the morning just talking about anything and everything, as she used to describe it, to solving all the world's problems. And I will just hold that so dear. Anyway, I'm going to do a little circus thing for you. I'm retired now, but I've come out of the woodwork. This could go pear-shaped, so I tell you what, has everyone got a drink in front of them? All right, let's make a deal. Every time I drop one of these balls, can you take a drink for me? And if we get to the end of it and there's still something in your glass, it's gone really, really well. Okay? Thanks. I'm just going to pass this microphone on when you're ready.
Beautiful. About that same time that Kyle was doing all that before he left to Melbourne, a lovely young bloke who was one of Jenny's leading men in her shows when she did Thunderbolt, actually. I think he played the lead in Thunderbolt. Went off to become, and still is, a professional actor. And he's joining us now, the boy from Werris Creek, Nick Simpson-Deeks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick, for those of you who don't know me. I was a student of Jenny's when I was in my teens. And those of you who do know me will know what a profound and lasting impact Jenny had on me as a young person. I've been very lucky in my life that I have been able to pursue a dream of being a professional actor and singer. It's not without its challenges, but mostly I just feel incredibly grateful to the people in my life who have instilled enough self-belief and fostered whatever talent I had along the way, and no one fits that bill more than Jenny. She was a force of nature. I'm sure you all know that, and I think she had a hugely positive and I would say, in my case, certainly a life-changing impact on not just myself, but on many of my peers and many others. So I wanted to record something that I felt she would I wanted to record something that I felt suited this moment. I recently came across this song in a new show by Tim Minchin called Groundhog Day, which is an adaptation of the movie. And I've been lucky enough to work with Tim in the past. Again, thanks to people like Jennie who allowed me to take this path as a creative, and I thought this was an appropriate choice. I am recovering from COVID, so we'll see how we go. But I wish I could be there. I send all the love from Melbourne, and I think it's wonderful that we're all coming together to celebrate Jennie. She was incomparable. She is incomparable. Thank you.
On and on and on, you stumble on towards the evening sun. She waits for you with open arms, you stare right through her. On and on you fall towards her, cold embrace in a shadowed doorway offers nothing. Still she draws you ever to her. On and on you stumble on towards the sinking sun. Turn a blind eye, fight or run, rest assured the night will come. On and on you grasp and guess and search for patterns in the mess of what has been and what is left to yet endure. The jester shrugs and plays his part, the fearful see only dark, the pious with their hope-filled hearts sing hallelujah. On and on you stumble on towards the cooling sun. Turn a blind eye, fight or run, rest assured the night will come. All the love and all the gold, all you've built and all you've sold, all the power you may hold, you won't evade her. All the steel and all the bricks, all the math and magic tricks, all the carrots, all the sticks, you won't dissuade her. On and on you stumble on towards the fading sun. Turn a blind eye, fight or run, rest assured the night will come. Rest assured the night will come. As for that, the rest is just a test of your endurance. You gotta love life, you gotta love life, you gotta love life.
In 2003, Jen wrote a little booklet. It was called The World Needs to Sing. And she launched that at the Retreat Theatre with two lovely people, her own students, who came back. Leanne Rule and Philip Anderson came to do a little show as we launched this particular book. Now, in the very last page of that book is a beautiful poem Jen wrote for Kirsten, actually. But she put it into the book as well. And Leanne's going to do that now. Let's listen to this poem. If you don't get any idea of Jennie's life until now, this will tell you.
It's an honour to be here, and much like Kyle, I got the chance to be in Melbourne with Jennie to produce this show, and I have very fond memories of that time with Jennie. So this poem has no title, but here it is. Whatever we do, whatever we be, we must never lose that incredible me. There are times in our lives when we can feel down and crinkle our face with a hideous frown. We can worry, we can doubt, we can long to be free. We can worship an idol, we can feel lost at sea. Upheavals may come, friendships may fade. We can lose sight of the sunshine and hide in the shade. We can cling to a rock and hold on to a dream, play no part in the ever-changing scene. The rock we must move, the dream we must chase, and remember always to be part of the race. Don't sit on the sideline, don't be a face in the crowd. Have courage, have faith, and for your sake, be proud. What a waste of a life if you don't take a chance. You can walk, you can run, you might even prance. But get into action, the limelight, the ring. Open your heart and just let it sing.
Yes. And that she did very well. When she went back to Wanganui and met Patrick Kelly, he eventually came back to Tamworth and started his own studio here with her, and they did some magnificent training for a lot of younger people as well. Now, Patrick, you've heard just a while ago sing her favourite song ever, Nursen Dorma, which I didn't know we were going to do until today, and I'm so pleased we did because it means a lot for me, Jen, to play it for you. Patrick's back now. He did the leading role here some time ago in Les Mis, and he's adapted a song from Les Mis for Jennie.
God on high, hear my prayer in my need. You have always been there. She is gone. We're afraid. Let her rest, heaven blessed. Bring her home, bring her home, bring her home. She was a mentor to us all. We felt like her daughters and her sons. The summers die one by one. How soon they fly on and on. She taught the songs we must sing on. Bring her peace, bring her joy. She brought all of us laughter and joy. You must take, you must give all her songs, let them live. If I die, let me die. Let them live. Bring her home,
Thank you, Patrick. Now, this is a special part of the day. Kirsten has put together some extraordinary photographs of her life, with beautiful music behind it as well from Tom Donald, and all sorts of things that you will remember or mightn't want to remember. It's all going to happen now. Let's see the memorial slide of Jennie Heaton. Wonderful, Kirsten. Thank you very much. I had hair back then and no stomach. Thank you very much. You know, we've sort of made a great deal today before we go of her fantastic talent. We haven't mentioned much about her extraordinary personality because it was fairly vivid, let me tell you. It was very vivid. Now, I'm going to just tell you one example, and please don't go away and cut your wrists, but it was something that happened quite spontaneously. Her son, Chris, by the way, her son, Chris, if you're watching, go and get a cup of coffee, mate, while we talk about it. Chris was being married in Canada. And Kirsten and Jenny had gone over to Christmas to be with him and to meet the in-laws. It was snowing very heavily that winter, and the in-laws, let's say, redneck. That's a good word. I would have said conservative, but redneck's probably close. The father was about this big. I think he called him Big Bill, I think. He was a big bloke. He sat in a chair and people just fed him a lot. And the little wife was a little sort of thing, always washing up, just flurry of dishwasher and things. And Jenny called her Sudsy, because she was always... So while they were there at Christmas, Chris announced his marriage in just a few months. So they came home and Kirsten wasn't going back to the wedding, so I went with Jen to the wedding. Now this is where the story really starts. She had met the family and she knew the marriage was going to last about as long as the wedding. No, it was a good thing. So I won't say she planned this, no, I wouldn't say that, but it was an interesting journey back to Canada. For a start, she borrowed from a lovely friend of ours here, Cherie Pethard, a full-length white mink coat. Full length, floor length. It's this big. And I was the keeper of the coat because at that time, people didn't like people wearing fur, and Americans were throwing red paint at things. So I was stuck with this fur. It took up the whole of the overhead locker in the jumbo, and we had the wedding rehearsal. It was a big long church. Now Jenny had this idea. She got it from I think Elizabeth Taylor. It might have been Joan Collins. That to make a big entrance in a fur, never wear it, drag it. And she looked, and I said, "Oh, you're not gonna." She said, "Oh, no, don't worry, it's okay. Well, it's a long church. This is a rehearsal." So we had about a week before the wedding. So we went down to New York, the two of us, to see some shows, and she went to buy the wedding outfit. Now, before we'd gone, she'd been talking to the bride's mother and their aunts and whatever, and they were wearing navy blue and brown and black, and Jen thought, no, not those colours. So down we went to see these shows, and she went into every boutique on Fifth Avenue with me standing outside holding this bloody coat, this huge thing, and she tried on everything she could find, and eventually she came out with the wedding outfit. It was a hat bigger than Scarlett O'Hara wore in Gone with the Wind, for a start, and a big scarf of multicolours, and a pantsuit in bright orange. Beautifully cut, fantastic looking thing, but the trick was the pattern was on the back. It was all sequins and bugle beads on the back, not the front. The front was clear, because when she walked down that aisle of that church, everyone was going to see her. And she did. We got to the church for the wedding. It was snowing bitterly and there was slush and slurry and everything outside. And so she decided not to drag the coat because there was mud in the foyer. So she got the usher to take the coat down, and he sort of took this down and draped it over the seat where we were to sit. And down that aisle we went, me in my good Lowe's suit, and Jen in this outrageous outfit with the hat and the sparkle. The whole church stopped and just looked at this apparition. It came and sat down. It was very obvious that they weren't quite sure, because the bridegroom's name was Corrin, his mother was Mrs. Heaton, and the friend was Mr. Gleason. They couldn't quite get that together. Canadians, a bit slow. Anyway, the wedding went on, as weddings do, and we went off to the reception. Now, this is where it all went pear-shaped, because the coat got worn by every bloody male there. Every Australian was into this damn coat, including the bridegroom. Chris, you were doing it. It was an outrageous day where, I have to say, Jen just took the whole place over entirely. It was, and they were, forget the wedding, the guests were more interested in what Jen was doing. It was an outrageous day. And when we got in the cab to go back to the motel, she said, Australia 5, Canada 0. Didn't you, dear? Didn't you? Now, apart from Kirsten, I suppose, here today, I've known her longer than anywhere. We met in the 80s in Sydney. We became soulmates. We were doing a lot of music together. We flattered together. We lived in the house together in Lane Cove before we came up here. And of course, we shared the big house in Upper Street for quite some time. 40 years ago, Barb was in the show we did called Pizzazz. And one night after, and Jennie was conducting and playing the piano in the rehearsals. One night going home from rehearsal, I said to her, she was singing one of the songs from Pizzazz. I said, "Why are you singing that song?" She says, "Because without anything else in my life, take off all the veneer and the fun or whatever, put me on an empty stage, and this is me." When we went to Wanganui, and in that show you saw there, Old Friends, she sang another Sondheim song, because in the show she built it up to where her second husband, Ian, went out to sea on her birthday to get some seafood to have a lovely dinner that night. A storm came up, and Ian never came back. Now, she paused like that and then sang the second song. So I'm going to put the two together for you, babe. Two songs that mean a lot to you and to me. Standing here all alone, out here now on an empty stage, will my life always be like the end of another season? Will I find, will I see where my life's meant to go tomorrow? How can he understand when all I ever gave was love? After all we've been through, surely he understands me now, and the love that I gave is still as strong as it's always been. But he pretends it's just a game, not for me. I still feel the same, yet when he's here close to me, why do I still feel alone? The sun comes up, I think about you. A coffee cup, I think about you. Does no one know? It's like I'm losing my mind. The morning ends, I think about you. I talk to friends, but think about you. And do they know? It's like I'm losing my mind. Every afternoon doing every little chore, the thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights to think about you, spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind? All afternoon doing every little chore, the thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights to think about you, spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my Jen. Thank you. Thank you. Now, on your program, or in your programs there, you'll find the words, and I'd love you if you can see enough to sing this song. Everybody's getting together here for this one, and Tom is behind it all. He'll be in a minute with bass, with the music, and you'll hear the whole thing. It's a beautiful song, probably Jen's theme song, if you want to call it that. It's from The Lion King. It's The Circle of Life. Join in if you wish. There you are, Tommy. It's all yours, mate.
From the day we arrived on the planet,
ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the official part of the day. The fun's now going to start. But before that happens, one lady has put all this together, a delightful lady whom I didn't recognise last night because I haven't seen her for quite some years. Kirsten, come up here, sweetie. Come on, up you come. Up you come.
Okay.
It's very difficult when I've got to tell you, I think Kirsten might have told you, I think I killed Jen. Because for 10 days, Jenny was lying, having said goodbye to everybody, and didn't quite make to go. And the staff rang, well, Kirsten rang me and said, look, the staff are saying she needs to say goodbye to somebody else. It must be you. So I got on the phone to Jen in the ear and said, it's time to go, Jen. We've been together for a long time. She believed in reincarnation, of course. And I said, it's time to go and get started for the next time round, because we're all going to be here together. And she died within an hour. She died within an hour. Now, don't go away. You are a very special lady, and I want to do something for you. Stay there. Just tap dance for a bit. From all of us. That's from all of us. Thank you for being such a beautiful lady.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you for organising all.
Thank you.
Up to Tom's big masterpiece, and the parents are in that as well. So we'll just get ourselves reorganised.